The movie opens at a construction site, where Clint, a successful contractor, steps into his office and calls his wife, Joanna. He tells her he feels down because she's leaving for the weekend, but promises to finish work early to see her off. Joanna, however, sounds irritated by his words. Clint is then shown meeting with a visitor, while back at home, Joanna collects a package from the mailbox as the family dog barks nonstop. Later, Clint drives along a road until the local sheriff, Sam, pulls him over. Sam casually asks if Clint would like to join him for a fishing trip. Since Joanna will be away, Clint agrees, and the sheriff lets him continue on his way. When Clint gets home, he immediately frees his dog, Duke, from the run where it has been whining. Joanna doesn't seem thrilled to see him and mentions she got his message. She explains she has to leave soon for a doctor's appointment. Clint tells her a potential buyer came to the workshop again, offering $1.5 million for his business, but he turned it down. Joanna remarks that it's a huge sum, but Clint asks what he'd do after selling. Frustrated, she snaps that they could return to New York. Their talk quickly escalates into a heated argument, with Clint reminding her that he moved 2,000 miles from New York to build a better life for them. Unhappy and resentful, Joanna drives away in her light blue car, paid for by Clint, leaving him standing in quiet despair. Clint later goes fishing with Sheriff Sam and unburdens some of his troubles. When Sam asks about home life, Clint explains Joanna is a city girl having a hard time adapting. Unknown to Clint, Joanna is having an affair with her doctor, Cortland. Cortland fantasies about opening a Beverly Hills clinic with her and reveals he has extracted a toxin from fish ovaries that causes cardiac arrest. They plot to kill Clint, sell his business, and Cortland persuades Joanna to lace Clint's food so he eats the entire dose. At home, Joanna searches her purse for the poison but knocks the bottle, which begins to leak. She hides it in the trash can where it continues to seep. Later, Clint returns and Joanna prepares a steak while he says he'll work in the shop for a while. Disturbed by the workshop noise, Joanna remembers the poison, retrieves the bottle from the trash, and decides to put it into the wine. Clint unexpectedly brings 2 glasses to the table and asks for a toast. He drinks the tainted wine, collapses into a cardiac arrest, and calls for Joanna. She refuses to help, telling him to die, then phones Cortland to report the job is done. Sam and Cortland later arrive at the house. The sheriff is shaken, not expecting his friend to suddenly die of a heart attack at his age. On the ground, the poison bottle is shown lying where Sam almost steps on it. When Sam suggests an autopsy, Cortland quickly dismisses the idea, saying it isn't necessary. The scene shifts to a cold storage room filled with bodies, and one of them stirs faintly. By morning, Clint's body is removed from its bag and prepared for the funeral. Meanwhile, Cortland calls the funeral home, instructing them that Joanna wants a quick service without embalming. At the funeral home, workers prepare to cut into Clint's body, but the owner stops them, saying the family paid for the cheapest option. Clint is placed into a low-cost casket as they get ready for the burial. During the funeral, Duke the dog behaves uneasily, while Joanna steps up to the casket with a flower. She pretends to mourn, shedding tears for appearances. That night, Joanna relaxes in the bathtub with Cortland, the two sharing drinks and laughing together over the crime they think they've gotten away with. Meanwhile, a violent storm rages as Duke barks frantically for his missing master. Annoyed, Joanna grabs a gun, blasts open the cage, and tries to shoot the dog when he bolts out, but she misses. Duke runs straight to the cemetery and lies beside Clint's grave. Shockingly, Clint is still alive inside the coffin, the poison's effects having worn off. Rainwater drips onto his face as he struggles, finally breaking through the cheap casket. Against all odds, he crawls free from the grave and is greeted by Duke before limping his way home. Exhausted, Clint reaches the house and, sneaking around the side, sees Joanna passionately kissing Cortland. Realizing the betrayal, he waits for Cortland to leave before smashing a basement window to get inside. Clint tries to climb upstairs but collapses from weakness, choosing instead to stay hidden in the basement overnight. The next day, Joanna meets with Clint's lawyer, who discusses the important documents Clint kept and the details of his bank account. She informs him that she intends to sell the company for $1.5 million, with payment due within 48 hours. Meanwhile, Clint wakes in the basement and drags himself upstairs. Thirsty, he gulps water from the kitchen sink, then raids the fridge, eating hungrily. As he eats, he sees Joanna pulling into the driveway and quickly retreats to the basement, clutching a gun. In his rush, he drops the shells and scrambles down the stairs to pick them up. He manages to load the weapon and prepares to ambush Joanna, but just then the doorbell rings. It's Sheriff Sam, stopping by to check on her. He recalls how Clint built the house with his own hands and points to the for sale sign. Joanna admits the place feels too big without Clint and says she's planning to sell the business too. As Sam leaves, Cortland arrives for his supposed patient. Seeing Cortland step inside, Clint realizes he has only one bullet chambered and retreats back into the basement to bide his time. Joanna grows uneasy after the sheriff's questions and urges Cortland that they should flee that very night. Cortland, however, insists they wait until the next day when the money from selling Clint's business will officially be theirs. During their talk, it's revealed that Joanna once became pregnant but chose to have an abortion to avoid being tied to Clint. Hearing this fills Clint with rage. He removes the shells from his rifle, deciding that shooting them would be far too merciful. That night, once Joanna has fallen asleep, Clint quietly takes a pair of scissors, cleans himself up, disinfects his hands, and bandages his wounds. The following day, businessmen arrive with a briefcase full of cash, confirming the sale of Clint's company. Joanna is stunned at the sight of the money, and after the deal is done, she beams with excitement at the thought of enjoying her new fortune with Cortland. Meanwhile, Sheriff Sam goes to Clint's grave and finds it disturbed, the coffin broken open and the body missing. Suspecting foul play, he orders the casket delivered to his house and instructs everyone to keep silent while he investigates. Back at the house, Joanna revels in her $1 million payout, but is horrified to discover mud smeared all over the bathroom floor. She calls Cortland in panic, but he doesn't pick up, so she leaves him a voicemail warning that someone could be inside. Grabbing a gun, she makes her way toward the basement. Duke crosses her path and barks furiously, forcing her to back away before she tries to aim at him. Just then, Clint seizes the chance to trap her inside the basement, then methodically boards up every window, sealing her fate. Meanwhile, Cortland is seen talking to his fish as he extracts more poison from them. Checking his messages, he learns his landlord plans to evict him for 6 months of unpaid rent. When he arrives at Clint's house, Cortland carries a syringe filled with the toxin, calling out for Joanna. In her room, he discovers the briefcase full of cash. Joanna, hearing his voice from below, assumes he was the one who frightened her earlier. She hides under the stairs and suddenly strikes him with a metal rod, causing the syringe to slip from his hand. She grabs the case and tries to escape upstairs, but Clint suddenly appears and slams the door shut. Later, Clint begins hauling wood into the house while Cortland regains consciousness. Joanna apologizes for hitting him, explaining that someone locked them inside. Cortland tries to shoot open the door but realizes the bullets have been tampered with, leaving only gunpowder and air. He then attempts to break through a boarded window, only for Duke to bark viciously at him from outside, forcing him to retreat. Upstairs, Clint busies himself with remodeling, sawing into the walls and even smashing a framed picture of himself and Joanna. The next morning, Joanna wakes to find Cortland calculating that they've been trapped for 8 hours. Mistakenly believing the man upstairs is Sheriff Sam, Cortland insists the sheriff must be after their money and vows to kill him for it. Joanna spots the syringe hidden beneath a drawer and realizes Cortland meant to poison her. She secretly takes it and then tests him, asking him to burn all the money if he truly loves her. When he refuses, she accuses him of bringing the injection, and he admits their dream of running a clinic was never real. As Cortland raises the syringe to inject her, the basement door suddenly opens. Choosing not to waste the poison on each other, they step through the door, only to discover the house transformed into a wooden labyrinth. Each turn leads them deeper into a maze with no clear exit. Meanwhile, Sheriff Sam continues to wrestle with Clint's case. He inspects the casket again and realizes Clint must have broken free, confirming his growing suspicion. Inside the house, Joanna and Cortland argue about their crime until a wooden wall rises between them, cutting them off from one another. At the end of a corridor, Cortland spots a shadowy figure. Believing it to be Sam, He tries to bribe him with the cash, but Clint steps out of the shadows, startling him. Cortland stumbles over the briefcase and falls onto the syringe, fatally injecting himself. Joanna, now cornered, scrambles through a narrow hatch that leads to a dead end. Clint seals her inside, then reveals himself and coldly brings up the aborted child, demanding to know if it was a boy or a girl. He drags Cortland's body and the cash into a massive wooden coffin and nails it shut. Clint drenches the house in gasoline, ignites it with a flare, and loads the coffin onto his truck. With Duke faithfully by his side, he drives away, leaving the burning wreckage behind. After the fire is put out, Sam arrives at the scene, but no bodies are recovered. Later, at the cemetery, he notices a man lingering at Clint's refilled grave. Approaching him, Sam realizes it's Clint himself. In a quiet, firm tone, he tells his old friend that he doesn't know him anymore and never wants to see him there again. Clint accepts the words without protest, climbs into his truck, and drives away with Duke. In the final reveal, Clint's grave holds the twisted outcome. Joanna, still alive but trapped, screaming desperately for help, while Cortland's corpse and the stolen money lie buried beside her. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.